So today I want to talk to you about outcome marketing, because in recent years so much of marketing has become fragmented into performance, into brand, into activation, into all sorts of, whether or not that's by department, in PPC, SEO, CRO. We are not looking at the whole picture anymore. And the key to performance marketing is almost never to just continue to do performance marketing. Accountants love performance marketing. The main reason is because you have a set budget of ad spend, and then you can reliably predict what you are going to get out of that budget. The problem is that the curve for performance marketing really goes like that. It starts off on an accelerated curve, and then it plateaus, and eventually it dips. You cannot just keep putting money into performance if you are not adding customers and increasing awareness with your brand. Hate brand marketing because it's unpredictable. There's a famous Rory Sutherland quote that says that if you stick a nice furry creature on the front of your logo, you are more likely to get a huge amount of brand recognition. If you look at Octopus Energy, it is our most famous brand out there. And conversely, that's because it has a big pink octopus on the side of all its vans. It's very easy to recognise. If you compare this to the last time you saw an advert or a van driving by for, say, EDF Energy, that doesn't work as well. So brand becomes unpredictable. But the graph line for brand tends to be very flat at first, but then exponentially starts going up, because once you start to resonate as a brand in front of your audience, that then pays dividends again and again. So ironically, the more you invest in brand marketing, the more it will disproportionately pay you back. The more you invest in performance marketing, the more that curve will flatten and start to tail off. You have to mix both of them together. Which is why at 21 Degrees, we've developed what we call outcome marketing, which tries to very cleverly mix performance and brand so that we can report to you on improved performance figures again and again, so your accountant becomes happy. But more importantly, we are also making sure that we do that important brand work to be able to generate more and more returns for you, because if we can get both those curves lining up, they'll both start going upwards and to the right. So there are so many metrics in marketing, whether you're looking at click-through rate, whether you're looking at cost per acquisition. There are so many metrics that people can perform in terms of vanity metrics like impressions and search volume and all of these things. But as a business owner or a marketing director, there are only really two things that you should have. There are only two things that you actually care about: how much money you invest and how much money you get in return. Those are the only metrics that matter, and that's why we've created outcome marketing, because we want to be able to empower you to make decisions and to invest in brand. Because if we come to you and say, we are going to charge you X, and in return for that, you are going to get Y, how we actually go about and do that doesn't actually matter as much as the fact that whether or not we're meeting results, we're improving the visibility of your brand, and that we are making you look better and better in front of your customers. Now, that might sound a little bit terrifying because it involves giving away a certain amount of control. We are a team of absolute experts here, whether or not that is professional brand experts, videographers, people who know SEO inside and out. The key for us is the fact that we will look and steward your brand and work very closely with your team. You will, of course, get sign off on absolutely everything, but there are certain things where we know that if we pull a brand lever, that we can get more out of the performance side of things. And the key to everything is the fact that if you decide that you want to invest X, that we know that we have to hit Y. And Y becomes the outcome. The outcome is the most important thing. So if you want to increase your turnover, we can absolutely help you with that. If you want to make sure that you are reducing the amount of products that you have in your warehouse and making sure that your stock levels aren't too high because you need to sell more products, we can absolutely help that. The fact of the matter is that you come to us with the problem and we will help you solve it. So performance marketing is very simply marketing that is on steroids. Now, most of the time you're looking at this in terms of PPC. It's all about the performance that you get back from it. So from a PPC campaign, we would look, let's say you're going to spend £10,000 a month in advertising fees. For this, you know that you're going to want at least a 5 times return, if not a 10 times return, which means that we would be basing the success rate of that PPC return on whether or not that £10,000 a month actually generated you £100,000 in revenue. That is performance marketing. It makes sure that you are squeezing every last penny out of that available marketing budget you spend, whether or not that is in agency fees or in ad spend. The performance aspect of it is really... Performance marketing agency is very much important on using strategies within your marketing that will generate you the results that you need. 9 times out of 10, that is revenue and bringing in more turnover. Now, this is only a fraction of what actually needs to happen in marketing, because there is a certain curve to it where if you've never done performance marketing before, you go out to your existing customers, and we might use things like PPC in order to go and everybody that is using Google to search. Google's a really useful example because there are active customers out there spending money and out there searching for your product. So we can get you in front of them. You also might use something called retargeting. Retargeting is a very useful tool whereby somebody goes onto your website, we can then follow them around. If you've ever been shoe shopping before and you've spent a week being followed around by those amazing Adidas trainers that you were looking at last weekend, you'll know exactly what retargeting is. And it means that you just keep on putting yourself in front of those customers. The problem with performance marketing comes in the fact that if there are no more customers looking for what you're doing, if you haven't had many customers visiting your website, or you are not able to convert all your customers, you get to a point where the performance marketing stops working. So that's where brand comes in. You have to then start to advertise your product to people who didn't know that they even wanted it or that you even existed. And the algorithms that we have for things like Meta ads, Facebook ads, are so powerful now that people seem to think that their phones are listening in on them. Now, the truth of the matter is that the average consumer sees something in the region of about 20,000 ads every single day. And if you're sat there at home scratching your head and saying that can't possibly be true, just take a little bit of time to notice the amount of ads that you actually do see. Every time you scroll on your phone, every time you open your phone, every time you do a Google search, you are actually going to be seeing 2 to 5 ads. And you pick up your phone way more often than you think you do. And that's without the fact that when you're going down the street advertising billboards and all this sort of stuff. And what I'm getting at here is that usually it's the ads that put the idea for the conversation in your head in the first place. And this is the power of brand, is we can start conversations that start to take people down a user journey.
If a business owner wanted to measure marketing performance tomorrow morning, how do they start?
I can't. If you want to measure your performance marketing spend, the first thing that you need to do is get your tracking right. Now, we have worked with countless brands, and I'm talking about some seriously big brands that have got their tracking totally wrong, measuring the wrong thing, measuring the wrong outcome. So it isn't just a case of being able to take things like tracking pixels, sticking them on your website. It is also about really thinking about that user journey, about where it is that you want them to go on your website and what the actions you want them to take. So it's one thing to say that I've had 200,000 people hit my website this month. That's absolutely great. But where did they then go? What user journeys did they take? And most importantly, what actions did they take? Because if you find you had 200,000 people hitting your website and they then immediately left after 3 seconds, you really diagnose that you have a problem with your web pages. You're getting lots of traffic. You're obviously very appealing to customers, but your website is giving you in no way, shape or form a way of being able to take action or resonating with those customers. So is that because the audience that you're targeting is wrong? Is that because your website is actually really poor and the brand perception of what your website looks like is really terrible. If they're bouncing within 3 seconds and you have that volume, you have a real problem. Conversely, if you are actually wanting people to make inquiries through your website and to sign up and to book a meeting, are you making sure that your tracking is in place so that a user can your website, you're noticing which pages that they are picking up and doing, and the pages they're reading, which pages they're understanding, and then which actions that they're actually taking. And you can use this to then optimize your website for the better. And that's a huge part of performance marketing these days, is that we look at where are the bottlenecks, what pages are putting people off, how can we make these improvements, what pages are actually generating traffic to bring people in the first place. And all of this starts and is impossible without you making sure that tracking is in place in the first place.
Everyone's KPIs that matter. What are the key performance indicators in marketing you actually watch and which are just about?
It's a really interesting question, how much you invest and how much you've returned. Everything else is interesting, but as a business owner, as a marketing director, those are the two that you need to care about. Because if your marketing agency don't understand that commercial intent of why you're buying a service on them, why it's really important to you that your marketing is working, it's very easy to take a £100,000 budget at the end of a financial year and spend it and report back and tell you that it's got in front of 8.5 million people and isn't this all wonderful, but if that £100,000 budget hasn't been used to work for you and deliver outcomes, then it is just a waste of budget. The things that we really look for within 21 Degrees are a huge amount of data. Now, that could be looking at sentiment analysis of a piece of text to understand how a large language model is actually going to read a page. It could be looking at click-through rate data and quality score data for ads to make sure your ads are working really well. It could be looking at bounce rate on a page to make sure that the user journey and that the page is actually appealing to customers. There is so much data that we measure and we look at that influence the decisions that we make. But the two things that you should care about are how much money did I invest and what was my return on that. And that falls into what we call return on ad spend, or ROAS. And if you are making a very minimum of 5-time return on everything that you're investing, that means that your marketing budget is taking up 20% of your turnover. Realistically, we would look to push that even further, but the minimum expectation we'd love to be getting back from you, from your investment and from your fees, is a 5 times return on ad spend. If your return on investment is anything over 5 times, then you are looking at the fact that your marketing budget is taking up about 20% of your spend. If you can get that further and you can push that further, that means the way you can start building your margins and getting better results, growing your company. And that's what we look to do. By understanding that those 2 metrics are the only things that you care about, we understand what it takes for you to grow from X turnover to Y turnover. One of the unspoken things within marketing return is actually what's called attribution. Now, attribution is where you have different parts of your marketing mix that are actually starting to take credit for different actions. And one of the things that is incredibly frustrating with ads, and especially for brand and marketing departments, is because they want to know deep down, if I invest another £10,000 a month in my meta ads, that I am definitively going to get a return. Similarly, I'd like to put that into Google Ads. I'd like to put that into letterbox flyers that go through, that arrive on people's doorsteps. I want to know where every single penny that I am spending is going and getting a return. The truth of the matter in marketing is that is really difficult. And this is where performance and brand in the past has tended to clash. Because if I go out and do a PR campaign, is that alone going to sell me more PR campaign and I get a central page spread in the middle of the Telegraph? is that going to sell me more designer jumpers? The truth of the matter is, by itself, probably not, because the customer goes on a journey. Now, you'll find that the customer journey has multiple touch points across huge amounts of different platforms. And in fact, one of the things that we talk about here at 21 Degrees is that a customer, in order to build trust with a brand, needs to consume something like 7 hours of content across 11 different touch points across 4 separate platforms. So when you have an accountant who wants to say, this is the marketing budget, this is the return I have on a marketing budget, they want it to be very cut and thrust. The truth of the matter is, even if you look at the way that different ad platforms actually measure their attribution, Facebook ads, for example, measure their success on whether or not somebody then becomes a customer 7 days after they have clicked on an ad. Whereas Google tends to favour more of what's called the last click model, being the fact that they'll only take credit for being an ad if somebody saw their ad, clicked on the link, and then became a customer immediately after seeing their ad. Now, if somebody had seen Facebook 6 days ago, and then they'd Googled your brand, and then they'd converted right then and there after seeing the Google link, both Facebook and Google will take credit for that particular customer. Meaning that you haven't actually got a clear understanding of which one worked best. And you haven't got a clear understanding whether or not you should spend more money on Facebook or you should spend more money on Google ads. The truth is very complicated, and you might find that without that PR coverage in the centre page spread, they wouldn't have clicked on the Facebook ad to find out more. If they hadn't clicked on that Facebook ad, they wouldn't have then converted via Google ads later. So the ROI number becomes even more important in this, because at the end of the day, it all adds into your bottom line. And if you are happy to spend X in order to make Y, it doesn't really matter so much what these different models are attributing. What matters is the fact that you were able to achieve the growth that you wanted to achieve, or exceed the growth you wanted to achieve, within the budget that you were willing to spend to do so.
So, performance plus brand equals outcome. Can you walk me through what happens when a business already in the heart?
So, if you are just doing performance marketing, then what you will find, and let's say you've never done it before, what you will find is that immediately you have some successes. Because with Google Ads, you're putting yourself out for the first time in front of customers who are actively looking for what it is that you do. If you're using things like Meta ads, you're getting in front of customers for the first time. And performance-based advertising can really start to work. So all of a sudden you see this graph that goes upwards and to the right really sharply. The problem is, as you invest more and more, it becomes murkier about where you're actually getting those results. Because if you're not then consistent, what you'll find is the more you spend, there is only a finite amount of customers that are actually searching for your product online. If you're then able to start generating that interest, maybe it's through PR and getting in front of loads of different people, so people start to realize that they need lawnmowers, that they need they need a new unique product that only you've got, such as even a pair of trainers that are the comfiest trainers in the world. Increasing that brand awareness means that more and more people start searching for it, which means that the amount of people that you have to performance market to increases. If you're just doing brand marketing, what you will find is that loads of people become aware of it, but they're not necessarily incentivized to buy. It might be a time thing, it might be a scarcity thing. They like the idea, but why buy now? They don't need it now, and so therefore they know of you, but your sales become inconsistent as a result. If you mix both together, you get more and more people becoming aware of your product, and they start having that incentive and they start having that desire to buy right then and there. And if you can mix those two things together, you have an ever-expanding customer base, and you have the ability to be able to get them to buy either repeatedly or to buy more often, and you start to get consistent sales from more and more people. Your visibility can be created through performance marketing. But if you haven't got the credibility that is created by people knowing your brand, you might actually just be serving other customers and become a research point. So you may be spending money on Google ads just to be somebody's list of 3 different products, and then watch as they go to the other more credible brand every single time. So we break outcome marketing down into visibility, credibility, and connection. Now these things are all incredibly important and should be looked at together, because, for example, visibility can be created with outcome marketing, with performance marketing, by just getting in front of lots of people. But let's say you are a retailer that sells trainers. People are looking for different price points. You may be spending clicks just so people can check out your price and then go elsewhere to a cheaper option. This is where credibility comes in, because if you are a brand that people trust, price might not actually factor into it. The customer experience might factor into it. The fact that it's cool to be shopping from your particular brand might come into it. And then connection is the most important thing of all, because if you've managed to use brand to build a community around your customer base, the connection you have with your brand becomes strong. They don't even think about shopping anywhere else. All these things come into our thoughts and feelings about how we work, because as humans we like to think that we are very logical. We like to think that we do X and then perform Y, and we're like that every time. The truth of the matter is that actually we do A and B, then we jump to D. Whilst doing a little bit of G, we then maybe circle back to some C before then actually jumping into X, Y, Z. We are very emotional. We make connections with things that we never thought was possible. We make decisions emotionally. And then our logical brain comes up with a rationale of why we did that afterwards. So when a brand can take a connection with its community, when it's able to be visible in front of its community, and when it has the credibility that it has from that connection, that then becomes an incredibly powerful tool to then help us mix that, and that becomes an incredibly powerful tool, and we create that through using to create those connections, to resonate with the community, to create those emotional connections. We then use performance marketing to help with the visibility and make sure that when they're ready to take action, that...
Could you please give me a personal example from 21 where chasing performance numbers has practically damaged the brand?
So I'm actually going to reference a thing that happened in my old agency. We used to work for a flooring retailer. This flooring retailer no longer exists, so I'm not going to mention any names. But they signed what was a massive deal in terms of huge amounts of ad spend, really wanting to chase massive increases in turnover. This then fed all sorts of panic from everybody, from the director team, because as soon as the second invoice went out, and the returns weren't 20 times what they'd invested, everybody started getting the jitters. That then led to decisions being made where it was entirely revenue focused. So ad spend was pushed up, the returns weren't coming. Now, rather than actually saying, was the search volume there in the first place? Was the amount that we could actually generate a realistic expectation placed upon anybody? No, not at all. But that being said, that then proceeded for decision after decision was made in trying to chase revenue rather than anything else. So all of a sudden, ad quality went down. Rather than investing in brand and PR, the fees were then just pushed into ad spend. This then continued to mean that the brand was spending more and actually getting less of a return. If somebody back then had just taken the time to pause and say, do you know what we're going to do for the first 3 months is actually we're not going to give you a return because the search volume's not there, but we're going to set your expectations and we're going to go out and do a massive PR push, and we're also going to start teasing your customers with, or potential customers with, we've got some amazing things coming down the line. There's some revolutionary new flooring, some really interesting ways of being able to do stuff. We built that interest first By the time, and then switched on the performance marketing, we'd have started to see a huge return. But performance marketing didn't hit the mark. The CEO started to get really nervous. The marketing department started to get really nervous. The agency started to get really nervous, and it led to a lack of desire to invest in brand at all. So all that was continuing to happen, and happened for about 4 months, was a below average expectation in terms of return, in terms of growth, a decent investment for the client, and not making that decision to then pivot spend into brand building and audience volume building and community building. It just didn't work, and the client ended up leaving. Nobody wins from that scenario, because the client doesn't get the return that they want, the agency doesn't get to keep the client, because that's the most important thing that we do at 21 Degrees, is look at every single client as a long-term lifetime client. We want to be able to grow as you grow, because our understanding of how we should always start any interaction with a client is that as we start any interaction with a client, that if we are charging you X, we're getting you Y, and we can exceed that, you're then going to want more growth. If you want more growth, we then have to charge X plus, but then you expect more return, and we grow our retainers. You grow your revenue, you grow your profits, that you grow what you can do and achieve as a business, and so do we, and everybody wins out of that scenario.
Oh.
I think have a look at, if I was a business owner starting this journey on Monday, it's now a very crazy world where a lot of the user journey I've been talking about throughout this entire has really been about those. So a lot of the stuff I've been talking about today has been from traditional platforms. Your standard Google Blue Links, Meta, Google advertisement. We are entering into a world where ChatGPT and TikTok are becoming huge parts of the marketing mix. There is something like 49% of US consumers now start their buying journey on TikTok. 97% of population uses YouTube. These are massive opportunity platforms for you to be on and to get your messaging out there. So where do you fit in the mix? How do you get mentioned in ChatGPT more? And the first thing that you need to look at is where you are spending your marketing budget. If your marketing budget is 100% trained on PPC, on Google Ads, or 100% trained on Meta Ads, it's probably about time you start diversifying or figuring out where you can get more budget to actually grow and expand your brand. Also look at yourself. Do you see your customers as numbers on a spreadsheet, or do you see your customer base as a community that is around you, that you want to keep giving value to, that you want to build that trust and credibility with? There are so many things that we can do as business owners. There are so many ways of marketing. But the most important thing that you need to do is to take a step back, look at the whole scene, look at the available budget that you have to be able to invest, decide what you can do from a brand perspective. And that might be that you invest some money in making sure that your socials are just ticking over. Because one of the things that people will always do, and especially Gen Z, is that they will go to look for signals of credibility beyond just what is on your website. If you've got a LinkedIn, a Facebook, a Instagram and a TikTok, but you haven't posted since 2022, that is a massive negative signal to potential customers. So making sure that you're ticking over at least one social post on each of the platforms that you own, or getting rid of platforms that you've got no intention of posting on, will help you with that credibility, because it shows that you are still there and you're still interested. The other thing to say is also PR is becoming more and more important. We no longer need to just control what we have is called owned media. So owned media is your website, your social channels. These are the things that you control. We also need to start looking at earned media. So this is how customers are talking about you in reviews. This is PR and journalists and what other websites are saying about you. Because now that ChatGPT can go off and do in seconds, crawl 10, 15 different websites to check whether or not you're a credible source, this is a really important thing. But it all starts with you taking a step back on Monday morning and reviewing what it is that you are actually trying to achieve, what it is you're doing now, and then figuring out where am I best to spread my budget. And that's the whole philosophy that we have behind outcome marketing. Because if we can take your performance budget and we can also mix that with some brand, we can start to build that visibility, we can build that credibility, and we can invest in visibility, we can invest in credibility, and most importantly, we can help you with the connection between you and your audience.
And then finally, what question about marketing outcomes is nobody asking? Why?
Questions that no one's asking right now is how AI is completely changing the face of marketing. Now, there are many conversations in boardrooms up and down the country with people desperately trying to get their heads around AI and where it's moving and what it's moving towards. There are also another huge amount of marketing agencies that are still optimizing solely for blue links. And when I say that, to Google search results pages and how we've navigated the internet for years. Now, at 21 Degrees, we are embedding AI into practically everything that we do. Not to make things cheaper, not because we're being lazy. We have a core philosophy around AI that it needs to improve the volume of what we can do. So you buy your time offers in hours, and if we can then make sure that we are able to do more in that time, then that's really valuable to you. It can help us crawl websites, it can help us get a deeper understanding of the data in ways that humans never could. So if we can make that work for you, then we're providing you with more value. And the most important thing is that we want it to alleviate the absolutely fucking boring. When you have a request or you want to know how many hours that we've done, unfortunately you have to pay for that. We are paying for our staff's time to do that. Now, if we can get AI to do that and get an answer in seconds, then all of a sudden you're winning as well. Because when you come to us for outcome marketing, you buy our time. You buy time of experts, and if we can use AI to craft and make sure that you are getting more value for the time that you've bought, we are then 10 times more likely to be able to give you the outcome that you're then 10 times more likely to be able to receive the outcome that you feel you bought. I hope that you have now got a better understanding of what outcome marketing is, the core philosophies behind it, some of the pillars, our thinking and our depth of thinking behind everything that we do. At the end of the day, it all keeps boiling down to that one thing that I've repeated multiple times, which is there's only two metrics you need to care about, which is how much you invest and how much you return. Because if we can use outcome marketing to help you grow your brand, to help you become more visible, to help you build your community around your company, then you are going to have a stronger and stronger brand. And each day, each month, each year that we do this, your community will grow, your customer base will grow, your revenue will grow, your profits will grow. That is the important thing that we never ever lose sight of, because the marketing world is changing, and it's changed more in the past year than it has done in the last 10. There is an exponential curve about how much it will also change over the next 5 years. And at 21 Degrees, we created outcome marketing because we want to be your future-proof growth partner.